من صفات هؤلاء يقيمون الصلاة ما قال يصلون يقيمون يعني بمراعاة شرائطها أركانها آدابها خشوعها إذا صلوا يخافون من الله تعالى أن يرد عليهم يصلون رهبا ورغبا أو طمعا وخوفا نعم أن يرد عليه لم يكن لايقا له تعالى يصلون مع أركان فلان مع خوف ورجاء وهذا هو صفة المؤمنين المتقين يصلي هكذا يعني أعماله الظاهرة.
And the next thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says here as a quality of the people of piety, the people of taqwa, is يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةِ, that they establish prayer. And he says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he didn't say in Arabic, he didn't say يُصَلُّونَ الصَّلَاةِ. He didn't say يُصَلُّون, but he said يُقِيمُون, because that implies that they establish prayer, not just deliver the objective by fulfilling all of its obligations, by fulfilling all of the rules, all of the fara'id, the sunan, etc., etc. And then in terms of the quality of their prayer, they pray constantly fearing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so يَخَافُونَ مِنَ اللَّهِ أَن يَرُدَّ عَلَيْهِمْ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may reject the prayer. So constantly nervous and apprehensive of the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may reject their prayer, and they pray rahaban wa raghaban. They pray sort of in a state of this apprehension, this nervous tension, as well as in a state of desiring reward. So on the one hand they fear, and on the other hand they hope. And another phrase he used was that they pray tama'an wa khawfan, which implies the same sort of thing, that in hope and in fear. So they hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept their prayer and reward it for whatever good that there may be in it, or for their good intention, but always fearing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might reject it because of the weaknesses in their prayer or the poor aspects of the intention and so on.
ومن صفات هؤلاء نعم الإنفاق في سبيل الله ومما رزقناهم ينفقون، يعني الذي رزق الله تعالى لهم ينفقون بعض ذلك كالزكاة وغير الزكاة في سبيل الله، وهذا علامة الإيمان وعلامة التقوى. نعم. فقط في هنا بعض يغلطون يقولون أبا بكر الصديق ينفق أمواله كله في سبيل، هذا غلط. لم يقال أبا بكر القرآن، أبا بكر الذي معنى هذا انفق كله ما زاد على حوائج الأصلية، لا كل ما يحتاج إليه. فذلك لم يكن منافيا بهذه الآية. وبعضهم يرد على أبا بكر الصديق أنه خالف القرآن، أنفق ماله أمواله كله في سبيل الله، وهذا غلط. كله ما زاد على حوائج أصلية. فعل هذا مرتين، مرة ليلة الهجرة من مكة إلى المدينة أخذ ما في بيته من الدراهم كله. ثانيا كان له 300 دراهم حين وقت التبوك، أنفق هذه 300 درهم في سبيل الله، وكان إذن بدرهمين يشترى غنم أنه قيمة كله أنفق. يقول النبي ما بقيت لأهلك، الله ورسوله يقول. وكذا أبا بكر سيدنا عمر جاء بنصف ذلك 400، قال ما بقي لأهله ذلك، قال نصفه ونطلب أجر هذا من الله تعالى. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بين صدقة أبي بكر وعمر كقولهما بعيد بينهما، وكله ويقول يعني لله تعالى ده حق. أبا بكر جاء بالنصف يقول لا تنا أجر، يعني أكل منه أجر فلان، وبين كلامهما فضل، ويدلون على فضيلة أبي بكر الصديق على أمته.
Okay. He went into a really interesting thing here. The next quality of the people of piety is al-infaq fi sabilillah. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, and so the Quran says that they spend out of that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided for them. And he says that an example of that is zakah, for example, is an example of spending from that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave. And he says that the meaning of this is that they spend a portion of the wealth that was given to them, and that implies that out of the money that is in excess of their needs, they spend that in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said that there is a well-known example given of spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the example of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And usually it is said that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu spent everything. And of course this is in the incident of the book, that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu spent everything that he had in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said that this is incorrect. To imply this without any qualification is incorrect. Because are we to say, and he says that some people have actually expressed this as a criticism against Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, if he had spent everything that was in his possession, then he has gone against the implication of the Quran, because the Quran describes the people of taqwa as people who spend from, the min implies a portion of that which has been given to them by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu could not have acted against what the Quran implied, and therefore what Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu spent was everything that was above his basic needs. Everything that he had that was surplus to his basic needs, he spent all of that and left none of that behind. And he said that there were two incidents when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu spent from his wealth. Once at the time of the Hijrah, two major incidents, and one at the time of Tabuk. And at the time of Tabuk, he said that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu spent, he brought in the region of 703 dirhams, I think that was the number he said. Yeah. 703 dirhams. And he said all of that money, the 703 dirhams that he brought, was money that was surplus to the basic needs of himself and his family. And he said Umar radiallahu anhu, when he brought half of what he had, he brought roughly half of what Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu brought. And he said in the middle that a dirham, to explain what a dirham is, that a dirham, the purchasing power of a dirham in those days was that 2 dirhams could buy you like a sheep or a goat. Yeah? So a goat. 2 dirhams could buy you a goat. That was the purchasing power of a dirham, to give you an idea of what it meant in terms of wealth. Jazakallah. And he said that, and I think I got that right, in that he said that Umar radiallahu anhu brought roughly half of that. And one of the things that's said about the two of them in terms of the fadila of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu over Umar radiallahu anhu is that the distance in virtue between the two of them is the distance between the money that they have spent, in that it's Umar radiallahu anhu's virtue is half of that of the virtue of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Interesting. Jazakumullah.